Ladies and gentlemen, please upstairs.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stop there.
Now invite Colonel Grewal to talk to the
Ladies and gentlemen, please be outstanding. I propose a toast to the volunteers.
Volunteers.
At this point,
The Honorable Dr. Alice Wong, Ms. Catherine Yin, Dr. Chapal, Lieutenant Lee Naylor, Sergeant Major George Chow, ladies and gentlemen and fellow volunteers. It is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you all to this, the 160th celebration of the founding of the Royal Hong Kong Regiment of Volunteers. I am proud to have served as a volunteer for 24 of those 160 years. Very small speck of time in their history. I need my glasses. From its start in May 1854 and through its development over the next century and a half, the regiment was essentially a part-time volunteer force with the sole aim of protecting and serving the people of Hong Kong. The regiment was a professionally trained and disciplined force. Throughout its history, it accomplished many tasks and performed many duties, but perhaps among the most notable were the two world wars. In the First World War, the volunteers were the only military unit left in Hong Kong, as the regular British forces had been withdrawn for redeployment elsewhere. Then the second challenging task and test for the volunteers came in December 1941, when the Japanese imperial forces launched their attack on Hong Kong. Out of the mobilized strength of 2,200 of all ranks in the volunteer corps, 289 volunteers were either killed or listed as missing in action, while many others were interred as prisoners of war. Some escaped into China to join the British Army Aid Group, which had been formed to assist the Chinese government in the continuing struggle against the Japanese. Others still joined the Chindits in Burma to carry on that struggle. In the battle for Hong Kong itself, the volunteers, as we have heard, fought alongside their comrades in the British, Canadian, and Indian regiments, earning 19 decorations, 18 mentions in dispatches for gallantry and good service, and the Defense Corps itself was awarded the Battle Honor Hong Kong, which the regimental guidon proudly carries. I would here like to recognize Sergeant Major George Chow, a World War II veteran who took part in the Normandy campaign. He served thereafter with the 15th Field Regiment, Royal Canadian Artillery, here in BC until his retirement in the mid-60s. We are very proud and honored to have you here with us tonight, Sergeant Major. I would also like to thank Mrs. Selina Chan, the widow of the late Captain Tim Chan, and their two sons and daughter who are here in memory of Captain Chan, and we very much appreciate your attendance here with us tonight. Finally, a word about the volunteer spirit. There is something indefinable about it, yet it draws those who chose to become volunteers together, creating a powerful bond among them. So even though the regiment as such is no more, that spirit remains strong and enduring, as evidenced in the gathering of volunteers, their friends and families in BC, in Ontario, in the UK, in Australia, and in Hong Kong itself. Nalle secundus in Oriente, which means, of course, second to none in the East. May I now read a message from Her Majesty the Queen on this occasion. Just one. You know, despite the size of the paper, it's a very short message. And it was forwarded to us by Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Hutchins, Chairman of the Royal Hong Kong Regiment of Volunteers, the Regimental Association, the United Kingdom branch. The message reads, and is dated the 29th of May 2014 from Buckingham Palace. Please convey to all members of the Royal Hong Kong Regiment, the Volunteers, Regimental Association, the United Kingdom branch, assembled in Winchester, Hong Kong, Australia, and Canada for the 160th anniversary of the formation of the regiment. My thanks, warm thanks for their message of loyal greetings. I very much appreciate your kind words and in return send my best wishes for a most enjoyable and memorable gathering. Signed, Elizabeth R. Thank you.
I would like to invite Mr. Wong, please, to address us.
Talking about technology. Save a few trees. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to join all of you here today at the 160th Foundation Day dinner, hosted by the Royal Hong Kong Regiment, the Volunteers. It is an association, and it is a BC branch. Through its long and illustrious history, the Royal Hong Kong Regiment truly was second to more, or to none actually, in the Orient. Today, its proud legacy lives on in you. As a person born in Tuen Mun, most of you might have been there practicing, and also have been there for half of my life. It's truly my honor to be a Hong Kong, well, I'm no longer a resident, but a Hong Kong citizen at one point, because actually I was a British subject because I was British by birth. So it's really an honor to really go back to the root where my parents lived. And then at that point, I also like to thank Lee, for his father and all those who protected Hong Kong while my parents were in Hong Kong. Thank you very much. Of course, I was born long after the war, and as Mrs. Grewal and I share together, that our generation is a luckier generation because we never actually have to face the terrible experience of war. However, when we look at the history, when I look at the exhibits here, it really recalls the kind of bravery, the suffering, the sacrifice, not only of our veterans, but also from their families. When I visited Hong Kong together with the Prime Minister not long ago, we went to Saiwan,
Taiwan.
Siu Saiwan, you know, and where Mrs. Harper was so touched that she started to shed tears when we heard, you know, the stories of our Canadians who sacrificed to protect Hong Kong. And also a good friend of mine, Minister Stockwell Day's father actually was in that camp. He came home safe, but not long after that, he died in the hospital. So when Minister Day went to Hong Kong, he related that. So we owe a lot as Hong Kong, people born or raised in Hong Kong, owe a lot to the Day family. And it's indeed that Canadian relation that bind us together, bind us Canadians and the people originally from Hong Kong. And honestly, my siblings are still in Hong Kong. I'm the only Chan married to a Wong who live in Canada. However, it's always my pride to go back to my roots and say proudly, I'm from Hong Kong. The small little island and also the village of Tuen Mun, where you probably get a lot of experience. And now when you go back to Tuen Mun, I don't even know how to get home anymore because it's been changed so much. But there's one thing which has never changed. It's the spirit of the people from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
We're tough. We've been through so many days and different trauma. War, diseases, depression in the economy, we survive. And I guess this is this Hong Kong spirit which keep contributing to our Canadian mosaic. Look at where you are here. Many of you are still working hard, building our great nation as volunteers and also as great successful businessmen and also women in your own profession. You have politicians who are from Hong Kong. I'm one of them. And then, of course, proudly to be the first minister, female minister of Chinese origin in the history of Canada. So for this is the Hong Kong spirit which urged me to serve. And then this is the Hong Kong spirit which binds us together. So again, I'm very proud of your family and thank you very much. And I'm glad our government is doing what we can for our own veterans. And I was talking to our great friend here that the government of Canada has already reserved a fund to correct the spelling on the memorial tablet, the big stone in Ottawa. I mean, so I'm looking forward to the day when I really can proudly stand before that and look at all the names, the correct spelling with the correct spellings. So that's a great project. And also on behalf of the Minister of Veteran Affairs, who met your great people, your association in Winnipeg, and had high regards for what you've done, what your ancestors have done, and what you keep telling as an education, as an educator. We have to let people know about that part of history, how Canadians fought to protect Hong Kong, and how Hong Kong volunteers fought side by side to protect Hong Kong. My parents were in Hong Kong and told me very astounding stories how during the wartime, how they suffered as civilians. And without your protection, I would have not have been born after the war. And then came here now as a proud Canadian. So on behalf of the government of Canada, I thank each and every one of you. And I thank all veterans who helped to build our great country. And also our dear friend, George, who really went to fight for freedom overseas, to protect Canadians and our values. Freedom of speech, freedom of democracy, and freedom of many ways protecting human rights as well. Thank you very much.